Hi everyone, it's me, Tim, and today I want to talk about being proactive. I talked about this about a month ago in a video called Good Team Characteristics, where I talked about 5 characteristics I really liked in people that I enjoyed working with. And one of them was being proactive. And by that, I meant if you see something that needs fixing, at the very minimum, ask about it. You can also offer to fix it if you know how to fix it. Perhaps you even do fix it. And I'll talk about that in a minute, about fixing something that you see is broken as soon as you see it being broken. I'll talk about when it's a good idea to do that before you even ask anybody about it. But I wanted to talk about this because it was really, really an important characteristic. And I see some people wrap that up in the whole passion argument about, oh, people think it's part of passion and passion is bad because it makes you used by the corporation, and whatever reasons people have for not liking their job or doing a lot of work on it or being lazy or whatever your reason is for why you don't like passion. Great. This is something different. I talked about someone I worked with who was really good at his job, but he wouldn't do anything until I specifically told him to do it. And I brought this up several times as a problem. I even brought it up in a review where I told him, look, the room could be on fire and you just sit there until I came in and said, do something. But then you'd leap into action and the sprinklers would go on and you'd have a fire extinguisher and it would be out in seconds. But you'd wait to be told. And this is really bad because you want to get promoted. But I can't do that in good conscience, knowing that I'd move you into a position where now you're responsible for those fires being put out, but you're still going to wait. I see no evidence that you would ever take care of it on your own. I said, I need to see some kind of evidence of that. Even if all you do is come into my room and go, hey, we got a fire here. What should I do? Put it out. But if by the time that fire is spread to the point where I see it and I'm noticing it and I come to you and I'm like, did you know about this? Uh-huh. Well, put it out. Okay. That's bad. And that's the problem I see with a lot of people who aren't proactive is they wait. They in their head, they're thinking, it's not my problem. I don't want to get in trouble over this or whatever. There are worse things you can do than risk getting in trouble for not taking care of a big problem. But what made me think of doing this, and I just want to caveat this, I'm not calling people out. But what made me think of doing this video is I see this happen on this channel where people will say, I am not ready to get a job yet, and here's all my reasons, and Tim hasn't done a coding video, I wish you'd do a coding video or whatever, even though there's hundreds, thousands of coding videos out there. But the one that always gets me is probably not a week goes by, and this is not hyperbole, I think it's true, not a week goes by where someone on the channel says, hey Tim, watching your channel, love it, subbed. Could you talk about how to get a job in the industry? Okay, first off, there is literally a video titled How to Get a Job in the Game Industry. If you search job, it is the one and only video that shows up. I did it early, so I knew it was going to be a popular question. I've tried to stem it off. It's gotten to the point where it feels like I'm being sarcastic when somebody literally asks, hey Tim, any advice on how to get a job in the industry? And I go, yes, here's a video entitled How to Get a Job in the Industry. I feel sort of like a jerk for even saying it because it makes it really obvious that they didn't even bother to look. And if you watched my video on characteristics I like in people, guess what? You already don't have one of them. Your inability to even take that minuscule step of on the device that you're watching the videos on, search for the word job, means you're already down one of the 5 things I like in people I work with. Does that mean I wouldn't work with you? No, but you better have the other 4. It's concerning. And if I was in an interview and asking you questions and I saw evidence of things like that, I don't know how they would come up, but I'm sure I'd notice things that would concern me. So I'm throwing it out there not to call these people out, but to go, do you realize you're already demonstrating that you don't have one of the things I would like to work with you on? And I bet a lot of my colleagues and in the industry would look for. So let's talk about exactly what I mean about being proactive. And this is, I'll give you like step by step, this is what I mean. So you're working on your job, you're doing whatever it is you're supposed to be doing, and you see something wrong. Ask. Just ask someone. If not in person, send email or Slack, but ask the question. And if you don't want to approach me or the game director or whoever's like really high up, ask the producer, ask the person who's in charge of your tasks. Go to that person you probably see regularly, you probably see them every week. Just go to them and go, hey, I saw this problem. Do you know if anybody's on that? Do you know if anybody's working on that? If it's something in your area, you can even at that point offer to fix it. Hey, I saw this problem. I think I know how to fix it. Would you like me to do that? Now, and here's my big conditional. If you know the fix and you have time to do it, one thing you might want to do is do the fix immediately. Check the code out, do the fix, or the piece of art, or whatever the design, whatever the problem is, check the thing out, fix it, and then shelve it. I talked about this in my source control video, but when you shelve something, it doesn't go into everybody else's builds. It gets tucked away. Now you can't lose it. And when you unshelve it, if any changes have been made to that file, you can merge them, but your fix is in there. And that way, if you see it and you immediately know what's wrong, you don't have to figure out what the fix is if it gets assigned to you 4 weeks later, or it gets assigned to someone else, and they come to you and you go, hey, it said you saw this. Do you have an idea of how to fix it? You don't have to go, well, I'm trying to remember what I was doing a month ago. You can bring up your fix and go, yeah, I think you just have to do this. Now, already, I hear people coming up with the reasons they don't want to do this. And I get that. But all I can say is, if you say things like you hate being a cog, or you hate not having any say in your project, or you hate not being listened to, I just want to tell you, those are all symptoms of you not being proactive. And you may not be the cause of the problems that the project's having, but you are part of it. You are immediately part of it. So, and I hear people saying, I don't like approaching people. It's really out of my wheelhouse. It's out of my comfort zone to walk up to someone and go, hey, first of all, you need to approach people unless you're making a game entirely by yourself. Entirely. Even if you're indie and you've outsourced stuff, you need to be able to approach people. You need to find a way of communicating. Find some way that works for you. Send an email. Send it over your company's chat. A lot of companies I work with use Slack or Discord or whatever. Text them. Text the person and go, I see an issue. Because if you don't do this, the game might ship with the problem. Or worse, they might discover it so far into the game making process that a fix is really expensive, takes a lot longer time, and that fix will come at the cost of not fixing other things. Because, think about it this way, what's the worst that can happen if you do approach someone and say, hey, I see this problem? The worst that can happen is they go, nope, not a problem, leave it. Maybe it's because they already noticed it themselves, or maybe you told them, but they're like, oh, I know someone who should fix this. We have someone who fixes things like this. Or maybe it's the game's lead producer, and he already knows of 100 things higher priority than this that do need to be fixed and tested before they look at something like that. But that's the worst that can happen, is they tell you no. The best that can happen is this thing gets fixed and the game doesn't get shipped with it, and you're the reason. You're the hero. So if you don't like approaching people, you're going to have to find a way. That's on you. I know people talk about being accommodating, needing accommodation or whatever, but that's something you need to figure out how you can get information to the right people. If you don't like talking, you don't like emailing, whatever it is you don't like doing, you're going to have to find a way. Because otherwise, you're just someone who does what they're told, which is great, but that will limit how high up you will ever probably get. Because at some point, you're going to be in a position where you're deciding what gets done, and you can't do it all, and you're going to have to tell other people. There are occasionally people I've met who are so brilliant and so against managing people that companies have invented side jobs for them, where rather than becoming, say, a lead programmer, they become a principal programmer, and they're responsible for some section of the game that they can handle themselves, and they don't have anyone under them, and they don't have to manage. But even those people are proactive. Those are people who, I knew a graphics principal programmer, and he would still go to the people and go, I see a problem with the design. I see a problem with the save game system. Is someone working on that? Great. If we already knew about it, the worst I can say is, oh yeah, that's already in Jira, thanks. It would be great if you search Jira first, like the people asking me how to get a job. Search the channel first. In fact, before you ask any channel, take a couple words out of what you're searching and just search. I know there's a couple hundred videos. I think there's 215 by now. But just do a quick search. I try to make the titles have all the words you'd look for, and if not, I put them in the description. I'm linking videos with each other now, so if you go to a video that isn't what you want, it may link to one you do like. I think I've done as much as I can do. It's now on you. Same thing at work. There's some of this stuff just falls on you. The company can do as much as it can. Your teammates can do as much as they can. They can structure it as well as they can. But sometimes a team just needs someone whose eyes are open, who's paying attention, who notices something and says something. Try to be that person. Thanks.